I am Julie Patrick, and we're really pleased to present some background about our Appalachian Gerontology Experiences program. As you guys know, it takes many hands, and so I just want to give a shout out to some of the members of our team, both instructional and leadership team. I like to start talks about Appalachia and West Virginia in particular with this photo. It's the New River Gorge Bridge, which is actually one of the oldest rivers in this part of the world. But the bridge itself is an architectural amazement. And of course, the natural beauty is stunning. People have a lot of misperceptions about West Virginia, just like Mississippi. And so we'll talk a little bit today about some of those misperceptions and some of the realities. I also like to start talks sort of acknowledging that we are privileged to be on lands that others were on before us. And also for some of you, you might in your head be correcting my pronunciation and saying it's not Appalachia, it's Appalachia. But I'd point out that the folks who live here pronounce it Appalachia or Appalachia, and the people who named the trail name it Appalachian. And so just like many other sort of cultural differences, Appalachia is the word that I'll be using. I'm not from West Virginia originally, although my father was born here and all of his people. I'm first generation, like many of our scholars. And I have a deep love for West Virginia and the struggles of the people here. And so that's part of the reason that our program really focuses on older adults in West Virginia. So our program, like other ADAR programs, is 5 years. Our target is to train 60 rising sophomore and juniors in MSTEM majors. So we get them young. They're just finishing up their freshman year when they start their first year with us. It's a 2-year program characterized by 2 6-week summer sessions and lots of support activities throughout the year. During their first year, the scholars conduct health disparities research using the large BRFSS data. And we chose that in part because there's some really good West Virginia data there and some really good additional modules for our state. And it's an easy way to get sophomores sort of excited about asking important health disparities questions. During their second year, we work with the scholars in the summer to not only translate their research to the scientific community, but also to the lay community. We're really committed to increasing the scientific literacy of the state. And one way to do that is to have our scholars go out there and present their work in everyday language to grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles on how to improve their own healthy aging. During the second year, our scholars also then are paired with a faculty mentor in their home discipline. And so these are students who are engineers and computer science majors and occupational and physical therapy majors. And our hope is that they will take all the information that they've learned in the 2 summers and apply that to whatever is happening in their home discipline lab. Because our ultimate goal is to train a diverse workforce to really apply their MSTEM skills to address aging-related health disparities here in Appalachia. And Appalachia is characterized by a lot of health disparities. Just from the chart, you can see people in West Virginia have a lower life expectancy than the United States as a whole. We have a larger percentage of folks who report fair or poor health, more physically unhealthy days, more emotionally unhealthy days, poor health habits, so not particularly physically active, lots of cigarette smoking. We have higher incidences of diabetes and most cancers and heart disease. While many of those diseases have decreased across the nation, it's not so here in Appalachia, and particularly West Virginia. We still have one of the highest rates of diabetes in the nation, and one of the highest rates of amputations from diabetes. So there's a lot of physical health disparities here. And that little blurb at the bottom that says life expectancy for men in McDowell County is about 67 years old. It's really low. McDowell County has a lot of problems, and we'll come back to them. We don't just have diseases associated with aging and poor health practices. We also have what's been termed diseases of despair here in West Virginia. And as Dr. Brown mentioned, we have to think about healthy aging from across the lifespan. And so, the most recent issue here in West Virginia has been the number of drug-related deaths. And you can see that the rates of drug-related deaths per 100,000 are twice as high in West Virginia as they are in the United States as a whole. The number of opioid prescriptions per 100 is much higher. It's high in the nation, but it's still higher in West Virginia. And I double check that stat every single time because it's like, how can there be 69 prescriptions per 100 people? But those are 2018 data from the CDC. So lots of opioid prescriptions in the state. Not surprisingly, we have a high number of substance use disorder exposure in utero. And we have a lot of babies who are born with neonatal abstinence syndrome, what they would call in the 80s and 90s, crack baby syndromes. And so we have individuals who health disparities are starting before birth here in West Virginia. And of course, they just continue across the lifespan. McDowell County, where the life expectancy of men is about age 60 or 67, they are number 2 in the nation's most vulnerable county for hepatitis and HIV outbreaks. And so we have a lot of issues in which we can address health disparities here in the state. Working with aging and health disparities in West Virginia or any rural area is complicated by interacting stereotypes. Certainly, age and rurality interact, but here in West Virginia, we have other stereotypes that prevent people from seeking help, we're underserviced, we're a medically underserved state. And I just wanted to touch on some of these stereotypes because they're important for the complexity of health disparities here. We have a strange relationship with gender here in West Virginia. It is the birthplace of Mother's Day, and yet there's still the over-sexualized image of hillbilly women. There's the idea that people in Appalachia are clannish. And that's probably true based on where settlers immigrated from. We have a large Scottish and Irish population, a large Italian population, a large German population, and each of those waves of immigrants settled in different areas of the state that were geographically separated from other areas. More recently, we've had an influx of immigrants from Eastern Europe. And so people tend to stay with those who speak their native language. They tend to stay with folks who have the same religious denominations or practices. And so to think about the way immigration influences West Virginia makes sense. We have a history of worker exploitation and social class issues. The predominant industry here has been extractive industries like timber and coal mining, and more recently, natural gas. Those kinds of jobs are hard on the body. And so we do have a lot of on-the-job injuries. We have a lot of early worker injuries. And so it's not surprising, of course, that the opioids are so common here, but it also creates a history of classism here. We have strange relationships with racism in the state. I think many people have the idea that West Virginia or Appalachia is very anti-Black, and in many parts they are. Katherine Johnson, perhaps you recognize her. She was celebrated in the movie Hidden Figures, and here she's receiving the Presidential Medal of Freedom from President Obama. The sad part about her lovely story is that few of us knew it until the book and the movie. And so here she is, a Black woman of West Virginia who helped with the NASA space program, but we didn't celebrate her accomplishments the same way we accomplished those of white men who's contributed to the space program. So there's some weird stuff going on with racism here. West Virginia is predominantly white, and that contributes to some of the racial health disparities as well. And then finally, there's this stereotype that Appalachians are tenacious and full of grit. And some of that is true, but that too is a barrier to getting services and medical treatment. The idea that, well, those people would like to pull themselves up sort of gets in the way of helping solve some of the health disparity issues here. So we need a lot more than just Appalachian grit. I mean, there's a lot of problems here. We've got an old state with few economic resources, a lot of health challenges, and those interact with our stereotypes and the opioid epidemic. So we really do face significant health challenges in the future. It's our hope, of course, that our program and others like it will help train the next generation to work with older adults and to bring their MSTEM skills to solve some of the aging-related health disparities here in Appalachia. Little website for those of you who are interested. Of course, for those of you who came late, you might not have seen this. It's in the chat. But we would love to sponsor some publications from ADAR scholars across the nation with their faculty mentors. We keep them brief. We can publish more. And if it's a success, we can do it again. I think one of the nice things that we can do in these kinds of programs is not just train individuals from diverse backgrounds to work on problems of aging, but maybe also give them some additional opportunities to continue their careers in graduate school and beyond. So I would welcome your submissions. And I do this here because I'm not going to be at the PI meeting later this afternoon. I have a GSA symposium at the same time. So.
Okay, thank you so much.